Hey, future officers. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely.
Today, we're tackling a topic that's almost guaranteed to be on those government exams.
Oh, yeah.
India hitting a huge GE milestone, $1 trillion in foreign direct investment.
That's right. And we're going to unpack what it all means.
Break it all down.
For India's economic landscape, go over those key policies you need to know.
Oh, yeah.
We'll even give you some hard-hitting stats and figures.
That could be straight from the exam paper.
Exactly.
Okay, so $1 trillion in FDI since April 2000.
Huge.
That's not just pocket change, is it?
No, not at all.
What does this tell us about where India stands globally?
Well, it's a powerful statement. This puts India among the top destinations for FDI globally.
Wow.
And what's interesting is that this isn't just a slow and steady climb.
Okay.
We've seen a real surge in recent years.
Yeah.
In fact, just in the first half of this fiscal year, 2024-25, FDI inflows have already reached $42.1 billion.
What?
That's a jump of nearly 26% compared to the same period last year.
Whoa, a 26% increase. Okay, now that's something I'd want to highlight in my exam answer.
Yeah.
What is fueling this incredible growth spurt?
Well, a few things are happening.
Yeah.
India's been actively working on its image as a global player.
Right.
We've seen improvements in the World Competitive Index, climbing to the 40th spot in 2024.
Okay.
And we're also making waves in innovation. We landed among the top 50 most innovative nations,
Wow.
according to the Global Innovation Index.
Okay.
These rankings aren't just vanity metrics.
Yeah.
They actually matter to investors who are looking for stable and forward-thinking economies.
Yeah, so it's like India's finally getting the recognition it deserves,
Yeah.
attracting investors who are looking beyond just cheap labor.
Exactly. They're seeing India's potential for innovation and growth.
Yeah.
And this is further underscored by India's impressive leap in the World Bank's Doing Business report.
Okay.
We're talking about jumping from 142nd in 2014 to 63rd in 2020. That kind of improvement sends a strong message that India is serious about creating a business-friendly environment.
Now, I'm sure government initiatives like Make in India have played a big role here, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, policies that encourage foreign companies to set up shop in India.
Right.
And what about those recent policy changes? Any that stand out as particularly exam-worthy?
You're hitting all the right notes.
Okay.
Make in India has been instrumental in attracting foreign companies, especially in the manufacturing sector.
Yeah.
And yes, there have been significant policy changes like liberalization across various sectors, opening them up to higher levels of FDI under the automatic route, which means less red tape for investors.
I see.
Then there's the amendment to the Income Tax Act in 2024, which abolished the angel tax and reduced the income tax rate for foreign companies,
Right.
making India even more appealing from a tax perspective. You're going to want to have these specific examples in your back pocket for those exam essays.
Yeah, I'm taking notes. So we've talked about the why behind the FDI surge. Let's get to the numbers.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff that exam setters love to throw at us.
Yes.
What figures should we absolutely have memorized?
Well, over the last decade,
Well.
from April 2014 to September 2024, India received a whopping $709.84 billion in FDI.
Wow.
That's almost 70% of the total FDI inflow over the past 24 years. Make sure you can rattle that off in your sleep.
Okay, got it. But it's not just about foreign companies pouring money into India, right? I remember reading something about Indian companies investing abroad. What's the story there?
That's outward FDI.
Okay.
And it's a growing trend. It shows that Indian companies are gaining confidence and expanding their reach globally. In June 2024, outward FDI commitments from India reached $2.14 billion, a significant jump from $1.14 billion in June 2023.
So it's a two-way street.
Yes,
Indian companies are going global.
that's right.
That's a whole other dimension to
Yeah.
India's economic story.
Exactly.
And probably something that could be asked in the exam, right?
Yes, absolutely. It shows the dynamism of India's economy. It's not just about attracting investment.
Yeah.
It's about Indian businesses taking their expertise and innovation to the world stage. And for anyone preparing for those government exams, understanding these nuances and trends is essential.
Let's zoom in on a specific example to illustrate this point.
Okay.
What about the space sector?
Yeah.
I remember that the government opened up FDI in this sector recently.
Yes, in April 2024.
Okay.
This move has sparked a lot of interest, both domestically and internationally.
Yeah.
It's a good example of how a specific policy change can open up new avenues for investment and boost a sector's growth.
So keeping an eye on these policy changes and their impact is crucial,
Yes,
especially when prepping for government exams.
for sure.
We've been talking about India's success in attracting FDI, but what's the global context here? What other trends should we be aware of?
Well, there's a lot of talk about global trade tensions and shifting supply chains, and we're seeing an interesting trend of Taiwanese companies moving their manufacturing bases to India.
Hold on, Taiwanese companies moving to India. That's fascinating. Why are they choosing India? Is it all about making in India, or are there other forces at play?
Well, it's a combination of factors.
Yeah.
Global trade tensions definitely play a role.
Okay.
Companies are looking to diversify their manufacturing bases
Right.
and reduce their dependence on any single country.
Right.
But India is also becoming increasingly attractive as a manufacturing hub in its own right.
Okay, so it's like India's benefiting from this global shift.
Yeah.
But what does this actually mean for India's economic future?
Right.
I mean, we've
Yeah.
talked about impressive numbers and rankings, but how does all this translate into real-world impact?
Right. That's the key question.
Yeah, the kind of stuff we can discuss in our exam essays.
It's not just about the money coming in.
Yeah.
It's about what that money does.
Right.
This surge in FDI fuels job creation, drives technological advancements, and helps build up infrastructure. It's about modernizing industries and making them more competitive on a global scale.
Can you give me some concrete examples of how this is actually playing out in India?
Yeah.
Like, what sectors are really benefiting from this FDI boom?
Absolutely. Think about the automotive industry.
Okay.
India's become a global hub for automobile manufacturing.
Yeah.
Big names like Suzuki, Hyundai, and Kia have set up massive production facilities here.
Okay.
But it's not just about those big companies.
Yeah.
They've also created a whole ecosystem of component suppliers.
I see.
This has a ripple effect throughout the economy, creating jobs and opportunities at multiple levels.
So it's not just about those factory jobs.
Right.
It's about stimulating growth across that entire supply chain.
Exactly.
That's a point I'm definitely going to remember for my exam. Now, is this growth evenly distributed across the country?
Ah,
Or are there certain regions that are pulling ahead?
that's a sharp observation.
Yeah.
While FDI has benefited many states,
Okay.
there are regional disparities. States like Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Karnataka have traditionally attracted a larger share of FDI.
Okay.
They have well-developed infrastructure and business-friendly policies.
That makes sense. But wouldn't this disparity in FDI further the economic gap between states?
Oh, for sure.
That could lead to some interesting debate questions in the exams.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue that policymakers need to address.
Yeah.
How to ensure that the benefits of FDI are more equitably distributed is a hot topic.
Okay, so we've talked about the positive side of FDI.
Right.
But what about the potential downsides? Are there any risks or concerns that we should be aware of?
Yeah, it's always important to look at both sides of the coin.
Okay.
While FDI brings many benefits, there are potential downsides.
Okay, like what?
For instance, over-reliance on foreign companies can be a concern.
Right.
If a large chunk of your economy is controlled by foreign entities, it could lead to a loss of domestic control and influence.
That's an interesting point. So, finding the right balance between attracting foreign investment and nurturing domestic entrepreneurship is crucial.
Precisely. Another concern is the potential impact on small and medium enterprises, or SMEs. If foreign companies dominate certain sectors, it could stifle the growth of domestic SMEs,
Yeah.
leading to job displacement and economic vulnerability.
These are some serious points to consider.
Right.
It's not just about chasing those big FDI numbers. It's about ensuring that FDI contributes to sustainable and inclusive growth.
Yeah.
And this kind of nuanced understanding is exactly what we need to demonstrate in those government exams.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You could be asked to analyze the potential socioeconomic implications of FDI and suggest strategies for mitigating any negative impacts.
But before we move on to specific case studies and future trends, I have a question that's been bugging me. We talked about the automatic route for FDI.
Right.
Can you explain exactly what that means and why it's significant?
Of course. The automatic route for FDI means that foreign investors don't need prior approval from the government to invest in certain sectors. It simplifies the process, reduces bureaucratic hurdles, and makes India more attractive to foreign investors.
Okay.
It's a key part of India's liberalization policies.
So the government is basically saying, hey, We trust you to invest responsibly in these sectors,
Yeah,
and we're not going to bog you down with unnecessary paperwork.
exactly. It signals a shift towards a more open and welcoming investment regime.
Okay,
And it's something you should definitely be aware of for those government exams.
got it. This deep dive is proving to be incredibly helpful.
Good.
Now let's move on to those case studies.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that Taiwanese companies shifting their supply chains to India is a fascinating example.
Yeah,
Can we explore that in more detail?
absolutely. It's a case study that's packed with insights and could easily pop up on an exam paper.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with the details.
Okay.
What's the story behind this shift?
Okay, so India offers a large and growing consumer market.
Right.
That's a big draw for any company.
Mm.
We also have a relatively young and skilled workforce, which is essential for manufacturing.
Yeah.
And the government has been actively promoting foreign investment, especially in sectors like electronics manufacturing.
Right. And remember that China Plus One strategy we talked about.
Yeah.
Companies are looking to diversify their manufacturing bases and reduce their reliance on China.
Exactly.
India fits the bill perfectly.
Yeah, and the numbers reflect this trend.
Okay.
FDI from Taiwan to India surpassed $665 million between 2018 and 2024.
Wow, those numbers really drive home the point.
It's a significant shift.
Yeah, so this is a great example of how global events can create opportunities for countries like India.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being prepared and seizing the moment.
Right.
But it also shows the importance of understanding global trends and their potential impact on India's economy.
For sure.
That's something that could easily show up on an exam.
You're absolutely right. You might be asked to analyze situations like this,
Okay.
identify the underlying factors, and discuss the potential consequences for India.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, from India's remarkable FDI journey to the nuances of government policies and the impact on various sectors. But before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I'd love to get your take on what the future holds.
Yeah.
We've seen how FDI has transformed India's economic landscape.
Right.
What sectors do you think are likely to attract the most FDI in the coming years? This feels like a million-dollar question that could be on the exam.
Yeah, it's definitely something to ponder as India continues to grow.
Yeah.
I think sectors like renewable energy, healthcare, and technology are strong contenders.
Oh, yeah.
These sectors are experiencing rapid growth and have the potential to address some of India's most pressing challenges.
Right.
Plus, they align with global trends like sustainability and digital transformation.
That makes a lot of sense. And I bet there are specific government initiatives within each of those sectors
Oh, for sure.
that we should be aware of for the exam, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I encourage you to dig deeper into these sectors, research their current status,
Okay.
the government's policies and initiatives, and the potential for future growth.
Right.
This kind of forward-thinking analysis is exactly what examiners are looking for.
Yeah.
They want to see that you can connect the dots and think critically about the future.
Excellent advice.
Thank you.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but as we all know, the journey of learning never truly ends. Keep exploring, stay curious, and most importantly, good luck with those exams.